What are we missing in our space? And we're going to talk about Miles Davis' Birth of the Cool, which is coming out, when is it, Tuesday? Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow on
Tomorrow.
PBS. What stories are missing from your vantage point?
I think there's thousands of stories that
Give
that are
me
missing.
one that we
you
all
know.
should know that you.
Yeah, I mean, we just did Miles Davis. There's Thelonious Monk. There's tons of musicians that to do. We did a film, The Black Panthers: Vanguard of the Revolution, which was a look at the Black Panther Party. That hadn't been looked at. We just did a film called Tell Them We Are Rising about the history of black colleges and universities. That never had been done. We did a film about black entrepreneurs called Boss recently, and that
Yes.
never had been done. So we have thousands of stories. It's just a matter of telling them right.
I mean, there's been movies about Miles. Don Cheadle starred in one.
That's fiction. That's fiction.
Okay. There's never been a documentary about Miles Davis?
There was one done maybe in the 80s in Great Britain, but that's the last one that was done.
I feel like we know Miles Davis. So what are we gonna when we watch tomorrow? Come on, talk to me, Stanley.
That's so
Stanley
funny.
Nelson.
That's so funny that you say that, because on the poster, our tagline is "You don't know Miles." That's the tagline on the poster. That's what it is. You don't know Miles. You don't know this story. When you see the film, you'll see a story that you don't know. I mean, I could tell you a million things that you don't know. Miles.
Classically trained.
Miles grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois. His father was a dentist.
Wealthy.
Miles's father was the second richest black man in Illinois. Miles growing up. Most people don't know that. Miles had two jobs in his life. He had a newspaper route when he was a kid, and he was a musician. That's all he ever did. Most people, don't know that. There's just so much that you don't know about Miles and Miles's music. We found footage of Miles that nobody had ever seen before. That a friend of his, bought a film camera, went to take a class at UCLA, learned how to use it, and shot footage of Miles. Throughout Miles's life, and so we used that. He had never shown that footage to anybody but his family. We got that footage and tons of other stuff.
Tell me how you navigate those spaces, because the power of documentaries, it's having, again, those moments, those pieces that nobody's ever seen before. What's that process? What was that process to get the family to give you that?
Well, what we did was, when we first started making this film and came up with the idea of making the film, is we met with Miles's family, Miles's estate, and sitting across the table, and they said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to make a film about Miles and Miles's music, but also about Miles, warts and all. I want to tell Miles's story, and I we're not going to shy away from the problems that Miles had. Miles had problems, with women, with drugs, other problems, and all of that is in the film. But we wanted to make a film that talks about all of that, but that keeps the music central. Because the reason why we're there is not because of Miles's abuse of women. We're not there because of Miles's drug use. We're making the film because of Miles's music, but all of those things are part of who Miles was.